Okay, you're about to see my face, so please don't make fun of it, but okay, alright. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Alicia. In college, I'm 20.
You're 20? Yeah.
I live in a dorm in New York City, which is what I wanted to talk about. So I live in New York City now. I don't live in Houston anymore, and New York City is the freakiest, no. New York City is the most noisiest place in the whole world. If you hear construction outside, police sirens, the ambulance, people screaming for drugs, it's not my fault. I gave them the drugs, I swear. I'm just kidding. But it's not my fault. I'm trying to isolate the noise as best as I can, so I'm sorry in advance. But yeah, so I feel awkward now, so let's just get back to the video. Alright, so this is gonna be part 4 of the videos that I've made on the symbol that appears in Frozen 2. So if you haven't seen the first one especially, I recommend you to go watch it. Otherwise, you're gonna be very confused. But if you've seen it, let's review. So when we take a deep look into the symbol, we realize that no, there isn't 4 elements. There's not even 5 elements. There are 16 elements in total. And what I'm trying to do is figure out who the heck are these other elements. So the elements that we have are obviously water, fire, earth, and air. These elements are established in the movie. And the 5th element is Elsa, ice, which makes perfect sense because if we take a look at this diagram, there is a diagonal line connecting water and air. Those two creating ice. But if we look closely, we can also see another diagonal line connecting earth and fire, which would suggest that there is a 7th spirit. The only other Disney character described as fire and earth comes from the movie Moana, and that character being Tafiti.
A demon of earth and fire.
Alright, so these are our 5th and 6th spirits, being the bridge that connects the physical and the spiritual world. Now we have 4 other diamonds that are quite large, and these I would assume are other elements such as the sun, the moon, time, and space. And the rest of the elements I'm not going to get into this video, but I believe those are elements from the spiritual world, since there is a spiritual and a physical world. But let's just focus on the physical world right now, specifically the sun and the moon. Alright, so if you've seen my last video, the video I did on Tangled the series, you would know that there is absolutely no doubt in my mind, or really anyone's mind, that that Rapunzel would be the sun element. She is the living manifestation of the sundrop flower. But what there is debate on is whether Cassandra, the one who possesses the moonstone opal, if she really is the moon element. Because may I remind you, she just grabs it and steals it from Rapunzel. So who really was supposed to take that moonstone opal? Since we're talking about Cassandra already, let's learn a little bit more about her. We know that she resides in the kingdom of Corona, and her adoptive father is the captain of the guards. And her mother is Mother Gothel. Yeah, that same person that completely destroyed Rapunzel's life. Yeah, so Gothel was horrible, manipulative, and a neglectful mother. And as you could already imagine, she abandoned Cassandra as a child. She abandoned her on the same day she stole Rapunzel from the castle. But of course, that day, the captain of the guard decided to take Cassandra in and raise her as his own. Later on in life, she became a lady-in-waiting in hopes to become a part of the National Guard. Alright, so who is another person that is in the running? Well, I would argue that Flynn Rider, or Eugene, I forgot his last name, but he is also in the running because was. Eugene's father is actually King Edmund. Yeah, Eugene is literally royalty and he didn't even know. Well, King Edmund was the king of the Dark Kingdom, and him and his ancestors before him were the protectors of the Moonstone Opal. So yeah, that's a direct correlation with the Moonstone Opal. But alas, King Edmund actually tried destroying the stone at one point in his life, which caused absolute devastation. Because of that, he lost his right arm and his wife and his son, because he sent his son away so that he didn't have to be near the Moonstone Opal for his own safety. But in the process, the son got lost and never saw him again. Oh, actually, and also Eugene's name is actually Horace. So it's not even Eugene, it's Horace. Another character in the series that could possibly be like the manifestation of the Moonstone Opal would be Varian. And that may not come to a surprise to you, but one of the reasons many people think that Varian could possibly be the Moonstone is because of his hair. And if you look closely, in one episode they show a picture of him as a baby, and it seems to be that he's always had this blue stripe in his hair, which would suggest that it's not dyed and it's from birth. Another reason is that his father is part of the Brotherhood, and the Brotherhood was created in the Dark Kingdom by King Edmund. So he served King Edmund and tried to protect the Moonstone Opal along with him. But he was sent away, as King Edmund sent everyone away during that time of devastation. So yeah, there is a direct correlation between Varian and the Moonstone Opal, as well as Eugene has a correlation with it, and as well Cassandra, because what I didn't tell you is Cassandra's mother, Mother Gothel, was actually part of Demanitus' group who did research on the Sunflower Drop and the Moonstone Opal. So she knew all of the incantations to both these things. So possibly she had a correlation, a direct correlation with it as well. So now the question is, which one of the three is the actual living manifestation of the Moonstone Opal? I actually have to eliminate Eugene right away, because he never shows during the movie or the series, he never shows any connection to the Moonstone Opal or the Sundrop Flower at all in any way, shape, or form. So sorry, Eugene, but you gotta go. So now it's just between Cassandra and Varian. Cassandra being, we actually see her using the Moonstone Opal's powers, but that's because she grabbed it herself. She stole it, but was she actually meant to have it? Varian, on the other hand, has a blue stripe in his hair, and that is not the only evidence I have for Varian. If you can remember, I believe it was season 3, when Rapunzel used the Moonstone's incantation and was possessed by it and she couldn't control it, Cassandra, in a state of panic, grabbed onto Rapunzel's arm, and because of that, Cassandra's whole arm turned completely black. But if you recall, later on, when Rapunzel uses that incantation once again, she is with Varian, and Varian goes out to reach for Rapunzel, touches her, and only his glove disintegrated. His arm, on the other hand, was completely fine. But wait, hold on, there's more. Yep. So at the end of the series, the very last and final episode, Rapunzel sends both the Moonstone and the Sundrop off into the universe once again. And we see Rapunzel's hair just brown, right? It's not blonde anymore. It has no magical abilities any longer. It's brown. Well, in that very same episode, after the events of sending those off into the universe, we look at Varian and we see that Varian no longer has that blue stripe in his hair. Just like Rapunzel doesn't have any blonde hair left, suggesting that the Moonstone being on planet Earth had something to do with his hair. But now it's gone. So, what do you believe? Personally, I believe that Varian is a true manifestation of the Moonstone Opal. So I'm gonna go ahead and add Varian onto this diagram. But you may feel different. Let me know what you think.